Introduction. We are parents of a total of 7 children. Melanie has 2, Lindsay has 3, and Melissa has 2 plus 3 stepchildren. Like all parents, our first parenting education came through our own diverse upbringings. We all recognized at or before the moment when we held that first wailing newborn in our tired arms that we'd probably benefit from some outside guidance in our efforts to parent effectively. All of us, in our own ways, made mothering our most important research project. We read books and articles, attended classes, obtained coaching, and talked to other parents. In our combined half a century plus of being mothers, we've all noticed that parenting advice tends to come in directly opposed dictates, such as be the adult, stay calm no matter what, versus fully express emotions like anger, frustration, and sadness when your kids' behavior bring them up for you. They need to see how their actions impact others. Or set firm, consistent boundaries, don't bend the rules ever, versus be sensitive to the individual needs of your kids and make accommodations for particular circumstances when rules are broken. And build resiliency by letting children solve their own problems versus always be there to guide and teach your children. And don't interfere with sibling conflict versus demand appropriate behavior within the family. Every day, as parents, we navigate seemingly opposed guidelines like these. We are simultaneously worried about being too strict, which we are told will result in rebellious behavior, and being too lenient, which may jeopardize our children's health and well being. And like you, we also navigate our cultures and our community's expectations around how children should behave and how parents should respond. One saving grace for all of us has been in finding a parenting approach that offers a larger guiding structure that we can lean into when deciding how to respond to our children. This book will teach you about the approach we have found to be most effective, the nurtured heart approach, which was developed in the late 1990s by psychotherapist Howard Glasser and is now in use in households, schools, and therapy practices all over the US and in the UK, Australia, India, and other nations around the world. The NHA is an elegant and intuitive model for interacting effectively with children in ways that help them become socially and emotionally healthy, and that reduces oppositional and defiant behaviors. Its simple foundational principles and practical guidelines resolve the kinds of contradictory advice described above. All the authors of this book are certified trainers in the NHA, well qualified to offer basic instruction about fundamentals of this approach and guidance about its application. Although many other helpful parenting approaches exist, the NHA has become a cornerstone of all our parenting journeys. Another important saving grace has been our recognition that to make good parenting choices, we need to be present and connected to our own deepest intentions, instincts, and wisdom. This can only happen if we are emotionally regulated. To practice the NHA successfully, especially with a challenging child or particularly challenging behavior, requires emotional regulation, the ability to feel tough emotions like anger, fear, frustration, or even shame, and to be able to maintain one's cool enough to stick with the approach. We all have our meltdown moments. No parent is immune. Think about how it feels when a child is on your last nerve. Feel that surge of emotion? What do you do in those moments? Do you yell and scream? Or do you disconnect, withhold, give the silent treatment? Say cruel things you would never say if you weren't over the top emotionally? Lecture, threaten, give warnings, levy escalating consequences, cave in to the child's demands in exchange for a few precious moments of peace, thus failing to enforce rules and support responsibilities, resort to bribery? Do these responses align with the parent you want to be? Your answer might be yes if you think that parenting is primarily about eliciting obedience. Or maybe, like us, you have recognized that you want to be neither authoritarian nor permissive with your children, but you want attunement, connection, and healthy limits. Like us, you may see the need for parenting in a way that supports your child's intrinsic drive toward harmony and cooperation, a way of relating to them that will organically lead to them wanting to relate and take responsibility in positive, age appropriate ways. This book will guide you in this direction through the nurtured heart approach with a specific focus on helping parents hold to the tenets of this approach in the face of challenging behaviors and difficult situations. We hope to give you useful information and space for reflection as you shift the way you parent, a primer on self care and self parenting, quote unquote, that will give you an opportunity to look at your reactive triggers and to become more emotionally intelligent. Learning to recognize these triggers when they come up and figuring out where they came from, usually they date back to our own early childhoods and the way we were parented, helps us to develop better self control during decision making moments with our children. These moments of recognition allow us to pause and make a conscious choice about how we respond. This book isn't only for parents. All we share in these pages should prove helpful to therapists, educators, child care professionals, or youth providers, anyone who is invested in being at their best when interacting with children. We came to this approach not to change our children, but to change ourselves, to take our self care to a level that equips us to be the best parents we can be. If you're ready to take this journey yourself, let's begin.